Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's me, Shannon. You know who I am. Emily Arnold's about to get up here. We're talking about relinquishing control of the mind today on Improv. I started laughing because I can see Emily's reaction to my nutto potatoes, but you can't. But that's what we're talking about, relinquishing control.
It's that kind of day, huh? The mind. That sounds great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's what's happening. The topic is a very large topic. And we also have some really maybe one surprise. I have like maybe two surprises for you, but they're just very low stakes. Don't get excited.
Too bad. I'm already excited. I'm excited for us. This is one of those days, humans who, general audience humans, this is one of those days where Shannon and I logged on together 2 minutes ago. So I'm looking forward to these surprises.
Listen, I know, and they won't disappoint. we big topic community, little topic, relinquishing control. And we've been talking about, last week we talked about some amazing things as far as relinquishing control of your body. And Lily let us know that she is right now, as we speak, growing a child.
It's true.
Inside a
3D printing a human inside of my uterus.
And that takes some relinquishing control of the body. Real life. And yeah, today I want to talk about relinquishing control of the mind and what does that mean? This is what it means, Emily. This is what I was thinking, okay? This is the thought I was having. Today I was having some really difficult thoughts. Some really like, I guess you can't do that. You're not good enough to do that. Or you're going to have to give up on that. You don't know how to do that. And you don't have anybody who will help you. So I guess you're alone and ridiculous. Can't do it. And it was like, man, what I ended up doing, or actually what I was doing was like, brain, stop it. I am in control. We will have good thoughts, and these are the good thoughts that we will have. I am strong. I am loved. I am capable. These are the good thoughts. And as I was going through my day thinking, I'm going to see Emily, we're going to talk about relinquishing control. You know what's really hard is to let those thoughts just be thoughts.
It is so hard, but like we can't always control our thoughts. Is a secret. And like we can't always control what happens inside of our brains, thoughts and emotions, especially, right? We can have some control over like how that translates to the outside world and what we do about those things and how we respond and react to those things. But yeah, it is frustrating when we get these persistent, fairly negative thoughts. It's difficult to not be like, shut up, brain. Stop it. Yeah. But it's part of the human experience is having those sorts of thoughts. And if we spend all of our time like shutting them down and like spend so much of our energy saying like no, then we like wind up wasting some energy that we could be using elsewhere.
It's true. It's true. I want to like just say hi. We see you, Charlotte. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Welcome.
And Marissa, hello.
Hi, Marissa. Hi, Marissa. So good to see everybody. And those of you who haven't yet said hello to us, hello to you too. Yeah, that part that you said, we spend a lot of time, we waste a lot of time. And you're right. Like the idea, the feeling that I was having today, shutting those thoughts down, like, hey, be quiet, be quiet. There's like a ton of therapy we could be talking about as far as like where like those thoughts come from for everyone, but we'll navigate around it for now. But yeah, just shutting that down takes so much energy because you find your mind like in a fight, right? In a fight. And it seems like it seems like the more energy you put into telling that voice or whatever, those thoughts to be quiet, it feels like, yes, at some point I will gain control over them and I will squish them and they will go away. But they're thoughts and they're like clouds. So they just keep coming at you.
Correct. Yeah. They just keep like popping up. Yeah. There's an exercise in there's an act book for children that the exercise is like you get some balloons and you kind of like write some like negative emotions or things like on these balloons, and you ask a child to like do a simple task, but then you also throw these balloons at them. And at first you're like, okay, these are negative things, so spend your time swatting away your balloons, like swat those away. And then we notice like how hard it is to actually do your task. But then it's like, okay, well, what if we just like let our balloons hit us, right? What if we just let our negative emotions be like, okay, you know what? We're going to feel these things. And think about how we can then do our task when we're just letting these balloons hit us. And it winds up being so much easier.
Listen. So I didn't know when I was going to use my cool surprise, but I'm going to use it right now. You said this today, it was, what if we just let our balloons hit us? Okay. Last week it was,
oh, you're so cool.
Do you know who did this? A fan of ours, Charlotte, did this.
Charlotte, you're my favorite.
Thanks, Charlotte Brown. You're amazing. Last week, Emily said, relinquishing control does not mean you are powerless. Yes, I can barely handle it. I just wanted everybody to see it. And this week, what if we just let our balloons hit us? Okay, I feel like, Emily, we're gathering them. Charlotte,
we're going to make an Etsy shop. We're going to.
It's going to be really great.
Please contribute to our Etsy shop. We're going to make stickers.
And we'll sell them and you can have them and it's going to be great. Marissa said something really interesting. What did you say, Marissa? You said, trying to control our thoughts is some major opposite of yes and. Hell yeah. That is correct.
Right. Yeah. What a great way to bring us onto the stage. You know, when we're talking about, because, we're all about pulling things from life to the improv stage and vice versa. And if we think about, let's say you have a partner that like their stakes keep being, or like every offer they keep giving you is confrontational or something that you're like, I don't like that. And imagine if you spent all of your scene being like, no, stop it. I'm gonna control this scene. We wouldn't get anywhere, right? And if we're imagining like our private thoughts similar to our scene partners, imagine the difference that could make in our thought process if we treat our brains like our scene partners, where we're like, yeah, I hear you.
Emily is preaching today on this improv pulpit. Yes. Yeah, that is 100% correct. What if we move through space, move through our off the stage, and treating those thoughts like an improv partner? And there's a thing that we want to let's see, acknowledge, right? Emily is not saying, we are not saying to listen and agree with these terrible, annoying thoughts, right?
Just like
We're,
we say about on stage, right? Yes and doesn't automatically mean consent. It just means that you're
exactly. And we've said this
acknowledging.
before, right? It does not automatically mean consent. We've said this before. You have the opportunity to say, yes, I hear you. I acknowledge, right, that you're speaking. I see that you're talking and I see the direction. Yes, I see that. Yes. And this is how I choose to respond. And when it comes to being on stage, you can respond in so many different ways. You can help that person, paint a picture around them. You can put them in an environment in which whatever it is that they're throwing at you does make sense, right? You can do that work so that both of you can work together on stage. You can also ignore them and go about your business. You can leave a scene. You have these options. And off stage, for me today, I was like, Emily is going to say something and I'm going to have to be ready. So I need to relinquish control here. I need to go through the whole gamut, which was it's really difficult. But what I ended up doing was just saying, yes, I see that you're there. And we do still need to buy tape. And yes, I see that you think that. And I do still need to go to the grocery store. And when I was doing those things, telling myself, good job, I'm going to the grocery store. Well done, you got that thing checked off. Well done. And as the more I went through my day, the quieter and quieter those voices got, right?
Yeah.
It was so interesting. And I mean, it's the same on stage, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If we're like, yeah, I see that you're bringing a Loch Ness monster onto the stage. Yep, I see that. And what can we do with that Loch Ness monster? We still have to, make a scene with, make a scene with relationships and stakes and all of those things, even if you keep bringing in like wild non sequiturs.
Right.
You still have to keep going.
Yeah.
One trick that I've kind of learned, and that's fairly like a kind of an act consistent trick when we're having those thoughts that I've started to do for myself, is instead of being like, I'm garbage, turn it into, I'm having the thought that I am garbage. And that little reframing too helps, right? Because it labels the thing that we're thinking as a thought, and that itself is not true, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that that extra step. So the step, I didn't get there. I got to the space where I was having like an I am thought, I am alone. It was like I am alone was one of the prevalent things. I am alone. And the more that thought was just yakking, I was able to parcel out the I am part and look at the alone part, and just like alone as a word. How are we feeling about that? Oh, I'm not feeling like it's so true. I'm not feeling like alone is the word I would use to stamp my day. So what would I use? Oh, I think I'd use is like productive. I'm being pretty productive. And then I can sort of like, if I imagine one of those, what do you call it, slot machines, like instead of like alone can go away and like productive can go after I am. I am productive.
Yeah, slot that baby in there.
Mm-hmm. And it was nice because when they came up, because it doesn't like we're talking about, it didn't squish it. It was still coming up like, oh, I'm alone. I am productive. It was just like, I'm productive. Oh, and I can just continue with my day. It's nice. I love that, observing your thought and recognizing that it isn't fact. Yeah, that it's just a thought.
It's just a thought. Similarly, when we're on stage, the things that people bring in are their offers. They're just offers, right? It's not the end of the world. It's not like it has to take over the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I got excited because another part of that is the other combative thing that we do. So when your partner does exactly when they bring this offer, not only are we spinning our wheels when we just like, no, we don't want that, no, get it out of here. We're spinning our wheels then. We're also spinning our wheels when we try to outsmart the thing, right?
Yeah.
The why, like, why did you bring that, or why is that here, or however you're trying to outsmart it. And in my brain, I was doing that today, like in the alone part. I feel alone. Well, why do you feel alone? You have friends, you have and we're trying to combat. I was trying to combat the thought, but that was also, it didn't matter. The why doesn't matter. The offer is still there. It's just like, it doesn't matter how much you combat it with like trying to outsmart it. It's still there. So how do we move through our day, our mind, place, and our scenes with this thing, like with it? It's like this releasing control that we're talking about is so scary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're looking at our audience like, oh my God, this thing, Loch Ness monster, right? But that's not what we want to do. We want to have an inclusive scene.
Yeah, and just be like, okay, well, this is part of the fact that a Loch Ness monster just slam on here is, I guess, just now part of our world, and that is just what happens. And that's fine. We don't need to dive into the science of Loch Ness and
correct
and debunk it. It's fine. And Charlotte in the chat is saying that she keeps trying, our therapist keeps trying to get her to stop intellectualizing her emotions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. If we spend a whole lot of time thinking about it, and not to say like you can't, like, right? Like if you have like a time that you're like setting aside and you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna like think about things and like really kind of think things through. But I think that should be like a set aside kind of time. And not a while you're trying to do your things time, right?
Yeah.
Because if you had, you're trying to get like all these things done, and if you were to stop and be like, I'm going to sit for 20 minutes and think about why do I feel so alone?
Don't do it. I've done it. Don't do it.
You're no closer to getting towards the things that you wanted to do.
You're not. I'm here to attest.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm here to attest. Yeah. Go ahead.
I wonder also how much when we're having these thoughts, how much is a little bit of shame based, how we're like, oh, well, if I were like on top of my shit, I wouldn't think about this. And so like trying to control it for that reason too. And I wonder how much it can also help to just know that like everyone has these thoughts. It's part of the human condition. It's okay. It's okay to just notice them and be like, yeah, today I do feel like I do have the thought that I am trash. Yeah, okay. So does everyone else has that every now and then.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Hi, Wes. It's lovely to see you. And Wes is saying, it is just a character that I called for to deal with the situation. This character's thoughts are the most appropriate for that character. That's interesting. I don't fight the thoughts, rather replace the character with one that is better suited for the situation. Sometimes negative thoughts may be the most effective for a situation. Interesting. Very interesting, Wes. Yes.
That's interesting. I like that because it doesn't place, it also helps to kind of remove a value from thoughts, right? Like a positive, negative sort of value, right? Like, sometimes this is just the thought that I need to get me going. Sometimes this is just the thing that I need for this moment. Sometimes this is just that, like, and that's part of observing too, I think, is without the judgment of this is a bad thought.
Right. And when we think of when we think that way for on the stage, right? Oh man, I love this. When we think that way for on the stage, when we are, doing taxes and this Loch Ness, we're just going back to it, this Loch Ness monster comes in and we begin immediately like, what the heck is this Loch Ness monster doing? Get out of here with that, Emily, and your Loch Ness monster. Then we also go back to what you were talking about. There is a shame feeling in us that is telling us that we're not quick enough, we're not smart enough, we're not funny enough, we don't have the tools to incorporate this thing into our scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we can remove that, if we can release that control, right, we have a little bit more flexibility as to where the scene can go. That's an interesting space, because instead of looking at how do I control or how do I manipulate this scene so that makes sense, if we flip it and we say, well, how do I manipulate myself, right, so that I make sense in the world that you have built now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that also, when we're thinking about our greater theme of community, think about the difference of when you are responding differently to your community members, right? The difference between saying like, okay, well, now I have to make this dumb thing fit, versus like, cool, I see that you brought that thing. Let me see how I can work that in to how I'm feeling and how I'm going to respond next, are two very different things that make your community members feel different as well. No one wants to be told that their idea is crappy.
Yeah, right. It is. It's, oh man, we forget that we are in relationship with other people, right? It doesn't matter if you are the boss or the idea maker, like you created this idea and now you're bringing it to a community, and sometimes things can feel like one person or one group of people is higher than another one, and you can take on that like feeling like I have the idea, it's my way or the highway. But if we can remember that we're in a relationship on stage, right? We're in a relationship, we're building a scene together. Nobody here is higher than the other. Off stage, in our own bodies, in relationship to our friends, family, loved ones, whatever. Also in relationship, no one has that hierarchy. And then in our community, which includes everybody. And when I like the picture I get when I think community is like someone in a hard hat next to a bus, a school bus specifically, and like a construction worker with a shovel.
The people you talk to every day.
The hard hat guy in the shovel dude. Like those, how we move through the world, like really on our roads, on our transportation system, in our local government, how we move through that world. If we can remember that we're in relationship instead of higher or lower, it might be easier for us to think about how to fit in.
Yeah, right? And how to give up the control. If you are equal to someone, then that means by default you're not going to be taking over all the things, right? And so they go very much hand in hand. Being able to do that give and take and giving up control and recognizing that you're on the same page here.
I'm specifically thinking of the game, any game, the story game that's one word at a time, right? And when you teach that game to newer improvisers, lots of different things happen. But the two things that are relevant are, one, people have an idea of like, oh, obviously I'm going to tell this story. We're going to tell this story. And I've played it where people are like, I mean, obviously the next word is Vader, right? It's a Star Wars story. It's Vader. I'm thinking Vader, like, but no, you're telling it together, right?
Yep.
So there's that, and there's that one, and there's the one where people are like, I don't know which word. I don't know.
I don't know what comes next. Okay. Something then. Just colander. I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know. And both things are what we're talking about. One being the control over, like, I'm gonna get this right. It is my way or the highway. And these thoughts, right? That's one. And then the I don't know. Like, to me, that's almost like the suppressing. Like, you know what? Just shh, quiet. I don't know what's coming next, but I'll take care of it. Both of those things are related.
They are very much related. I think one is a little bit more external than the other. I think that second one is definitely like the shush in your brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
The, like, every word you come up with is dumb and doesn't work when that's not true.
Yeah.
Or how human language works. If we're doing this with humans who have language to build sentences, you probably know a word that will come next,
Mm-hmm.
or at least like the kind of word, or you'll have something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard, I think, sometimes for people to be like, but it's not the right one. Is it exactly what the other people want? And am I having enough control over, like, my thoughts to be able to give the right thing? So yeah, you're right. I think two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. There's the part that is resonating with me that you're talking about right now is you're like, there's two sides of a different internal, external. I might have lost it. I might have lost it, Emily, but it was a very interesting thing.
The difference between controlling, like, other people and controlling our own thoughts and our own brains. Yeah. While you're thinking, okay. I'm going to take this time, since we're talking about games, I'm going to take this time to promote our stuff next week.
Look
How
at
about
you.
that?
Look
Do you
at
have
you.
a visual for you? You look like you're about to do a visual. Yeah.
That was my second surprise.
Improv on and off the stage. The journey is, like, all next week, the 24th through the 30th, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. In Austin.
Yes.
With, like, Austin. One night off for you, but not for us.
For us. No, we've got, I want to see if I can put in our comments and chat. Let's see if I can do this. Oh my, I don't know. Oh yes, I think I can actually put a link in there. Maybe there's a link if you're wondering. And I don't know if you know, Emily, but Charlotte is coming.
Oh, you book flights because you have no chill, Charlotte, is what you say. All right. Well, I'm very excited. This is amazing. If anyone else would like to book flights to the very warm Austin with me and Charlotte, we're packing our shorts because, oh boy, we are doing, so the 24th is Luke's drama therapy workshop at a time that is
at 1 to 4.
Beautiful. And then the 26th is Shannon and I teaching an improv class that is basically this with improv games. This conversation, we're going to play games to practice relinquishing control on and off the stage. And that is at 7?
6.
Thank you.
A 3-hour workshop, y'all. We're going to really get into it. 6 to 9.
Doing lots of playing, lots of talking. And then the 27th and the 28th are going to be All Together Now shows at the Carver Center. And the 29th and 30th are going to be All Together Now shows at the Vesper. So come on down. Our shows are awesome. They're going to be different every time. Because obviously that's how improv works, but then also, like, we are making an effort to, like, try to do different things every night. So come to as much as you want and relinquish some control with us and go on a journey.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be really great. Emily is always so good at making sure we get all of the science, all of the behavioral analysis. And it's awesome. It's awesome to finally be in a space where we're connecting the improv with the science, our brains with our bodies, and then actually seeing it through into an improv show, like the showy part where we get to be involved, but also the audience gets to be involved.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm really stoked. My mom's gonna be there, everyone. So make sure to tell her.
Emily's mom.
Yeah, tell her thanks, I guess. Tell her your favorite part of Magnolia Market in Waco, because I guess that's where we're going. So be great.
Okay, before we leave, we have to go. But before we leave, I want to put this up one more time. Woo! From last week. Thank you, Charlotte, for this amazing piece of artwork. Relinquishing control does not mean you are powerless. Emily Arnold says amazing things. And then this week, I don't have artwork for it, but we're walking away with, what if we let our balloons hit us?
Let's let our balloons hit us. There's balloons, babies.
What if we let them hit us? All right. Charlotte says bye. We say bye. Thank you. Oh, and thank you, Wes. Thanks for being here and offering so many amazing thoughts. And also, yeah, thanks for Marissa. We love you. Before we do it, we have to say the things, and the things are always, we hope to see you on and
off the stage. Goodbye.
Bye.